excited to have you on our main stage this year. To get started, I'd like to have our audience understand a little bit more about your topic and what you're going to be talking about at HCIC. And so they'll know what to expect when they come to hear you. Now, I know that your session focuses on burnout and particularly on how to prevent it and how to recover from it. But how have you seen the burnout conversation change recently? Obviously, there's been a lot of change over the last couple of years. So is it moving towards more of empowering employees? What are you seeing these days?
So it's interesting, Kathy. So before the pandemic hit, there weren't a whole lot of organizations that were really implementing things, if you will, to specifically address or prevent burnout. It really wasn't on the forefront of a lot of people's minds. In the last few years, it's really been one of the biggest things that organizations have wanted to implement, especially when you're thinking of healthcare, because it's not a new concept in healthcare, but really it's come to the forefront of everyone's mind in the last couple years. And it's been an interesting time because organizations are now starting to realize their role in helping their people prevent and address burnout, whereas before it was kind of left up to employees.
Yeah, you were kind of on your own for your own mental health.
Exactly. For you to figure it out and you to work through it, but now organizations and leaders are starting to say, okay, what role do we play and how can we really help our people so we can get in front of the issue as opposed to waiting until people are already in burnout and then we're trying to play catch up.
That makes a lot of sense. In your practice, are you seeing changes with inside companies? It kind of sounds like you are, with their being concerned about and trying to find ways to better protect the well-being of their employee base.
Absolutely. Organizations now recognize that it's a real issue. And so what we like to do in our practice is we like to go from when an organization says, yes, we recognize that it's an issue, but it's important, but it's not really urgent. We like to get them to really that sense of urgency, because the big difference is when organizations or leaders say, yes, it's important, but they think that it's going to work itself out or that it's going to go away on its own, and burnout never goes away on its own. When you think about burnout, it doesn't stay self-contained. It impacts your mental health, and the more your mental health is impacted, the more it impacts burnout. So you have this vicious cycle that goes around and around. So even when people are being productive, they're showing up, they're great at work, it doesn't mean that they're not in burnout, because when they get home, they may be completely incapacitated, because you don't know unless you start asking your people, what's going on? How are you feeling? What's leading to burnout? Those type of things.
So is that one of the common misconceptions then about burnout? And are there others? I mean, I didn't really think about the idea that somebody could be productive at work and a zombie at home, or vice versa maybe, but.
Exactly. So that is one of the misconceptions, because oftentimes people tend to think that, okay, well, it's going to show up at work. If somebody's burned out, we're going to see it at work. And so, but we also have to see how they are as a whole being, right? And then also another misconception, or what I like to say, a myth, is that giving people more vacation time or time off is going to cure burnout. Do people need more time off of work? Do they need to recuperate and revive? Yes, but if you ask people, the majority of people, when they take time off of work, will say that they feel guilty for taking that time off, or they're thinking about work or what they've got to do when they get back to work, or they're answering emails while they're laying on the beach, right? So they still are.
That's better than being at work and answering emails.
Right. Yes, it is. But how many people have to often completely unplug when they're not, because their mind is still in some way on work or thinking about even Sunday. Like if you're going back to work on Monday, you're thinking about all the emails or all the things you got to catch up on Monday. Our leaders need this information. Our leaders need this help. And so one thing for leaders specifically to keep in mind in organizations is that when leaders are in burnout, they lead teams that are in burnout. So it's also important that when you're showing up, whether you're leading someone at work or you're leading someone at home or friends, colleagues, whatever that leadership role is in your life, that you take a look at how you may be in burnout, or how burnout might start impacting you even in the future, because you might be on the brink of burnout, and things that you can do to really help yourself, because again, if not, it starts trickling out into every other area of your life. And so you want to get in front of that as much as possible.
Yeah, sounds like it can be a steamroller coming at you.
Yes.
Well, without giving away too much from your talk or your presentation, do you have one or two quick tips that you could give our audience that could maybe help them between now and November when they come to see you talk at HCIC?
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that doesn't take much time, but it has a huge impact, is what we call a check-in. So if you think about from the minute you wake up in the morning to the minute you go to bed, you push, you go, you're always doing, right? But to really stop and pause and check in with yourself throughout the day. How are you feeling? What's going on? What are you thinking about? And then also check in with those around you. So great way to do that is just say, Kathy, give me one or two words of how you're feeling today. So that way it also gives them permission to stop and pause and check in with themselves. And that's what people really want, right? They want to know that they're not in it alone, that someone somewhere gets it,
Yeah.
but also that someone cares about them.
Looks like you're looking for more than somebody just saying, hey, yeah, I'm fine.
Yes, absolutely. You know,
'Cause that's the answer most days. Oh, I'm good. I'm fine.
and then follow up. How are you fine? How are you good? What's going on? And if you take just that moment of how you're fine, people often say, well, maybe not so much, or this is what's going on, you know? And it really allows you to connect on a deeper level.
That sounds great. Thanks, Jessica. We're so excited that you're going to be speaking at HCIC this year. It'll be our 26th year, believe it or not, as a conference. It's November 7th through the 9th at the JW Marriott Turnberry. And Jessica, you're going to help us make it one of the best conferences yet.
Yay, thank you so much.
We're looking forward to seeing you in Miami in November.
I am looking forward to being there and meeting all your amazing people.
It'll be fun. We have a tribe, that's for sure. It'll be a great time. Thanks again.
Thank you.